So one of the big themes on this show is city-owned internet, which is also referred to as municipal broadband. That takes the internet out of the big corporations' hands, the hands of Comcast and Verizon and AT&T, and puts it into the hands of people where they build their own networks. Cities are doing this across the country as we speak. Chattanooga, in particular, has had municipal broadband since 2014. Cities and municipalities that have municipal broadband get better internet at a better price nearly 100% of the time. They get a better price 100% of the time, and nearly all the time, they get a better internet connection than what their corporate overlords offer. Why? Because their first concern isn't profit. Their first concern is providing a decent service. So instead of having an organized duopoly, which is what the big cable companies have, where their only agenda is to price gouge consumers, you're actually in the business of providing high quality internet, which really isn't that terribly hard to do. It just needs to be your main focus, what cities and municipalities can do, and big cable companies choose not to do. So there was a study that happened, I believe it was out of Harvard. It's referenced in Bernie Sanders' high-speed internet for all bill, where it clearly indicates municipalities and cities that offer their own internet, you get a better price 100% of the time. You get better service nearly 100% of the time. There's a few exceptions where the speeds are neck and neck with what the big cable companies offer, but it's only because in most of those cases, the municipal projects aren't finished yet. So if you have an unfinished municipal project, your speed might only be neck and neck with the big cable companies instead of exorbitantly better. So, and we've talked about how, look, my new I'm still getting used to my new headphones, folks. I'm still adjusting them at times, which of course I need them because Lee's going to be on the show later. And we talk about at times how, you know, amidst all of this, amidst the coronavirus, amidst being quarantined, we are really seeing how the internet is a utility in our life. Where will we be without the internet right now? I mean, it's scary to even bring up, but imagine going through all of this without even an internet connection. Where would you go for information? What would you be able to do, really? Ugh, crazy to think about. So the idea of the internet as a utility in our lives, which it is, and it should be designated as such, which, by the way, is what net neutrality does. It makes the internet a utility in our lives. But more people are building networks, so check this out. And I apologize. Somebody sent this to me over the weekend. I meant to write down who it was. I forgot to write down who it was. So if you're the person who sent me this, please do email me so I can credit you. But I apologize. I copied the web link, but I forgot to write down your name. I apologize. Please let me know, though. Coronavirus fuels P2P connectivity. Crypto-driven mesh net gives rural towns internet. So check this out. This is a guy. Look at this picture. This is a guy on a tractor, and he's laying cable. This is in a rural town. So this happened in Oregon. Oregon residents connect to decentralized internet service powered by crypto. The recent events unfolding worldwide has made people aware that the internet is a resourceful tool. It's more than a resourceful tool. It's a utility in our freaking lives when it comes to sharing information during a pandemic. And there's a lot of areas worldwide with limited internet resources in ISPs, which are internet service providers that can take care of people's connectivity needs. So in various rural regions in the U.S., this article highlights a part in Oregon, ISPs are hard to come by, and the ones that do offer services to remote areas often charge astronomical prices. Not only do they charge astronomical prices, as the article points out, they usually offer really crappy service too. Why? Because they didn't bother building there, because they didn't feel like they could make enough money. It's not that they can't build there, they choose not to, because they have an organized duopoly. What does that mean? That means that AT&T has certain territories that Comcast doesn't really go to as much, and vice versa. And together, they price gouge the entire country. Well, Ron, this sounds like something the mafia would do. Yeah. Is it any different, Ron? No, it isn't. And I know this isn't the sexiest issue in the world to talk about, but it's insanely important. All right, so anyway, right now, as the coronavirus outbreak ravages the American economy, some residents from Clatskanny, Oregon, Clatskanny, it's a weird name for a town, Clatskanny, Oregon, can't access internet due to ISPs. The connectivity issues have caused some residents to start using a decentralized mesh net service. People in the town are leveraging a mesh net solution called Althea, which lets routers pay each other for bandwidth. Essentially, a mesh network, and we've talked about mesh networks before on this show. We talked about the big mesh network they're building in New York City, is a local network topology that allows people to relay and share bandwidth and route data from to other participants. If the network grows stronger, it can operate in a non-hierarchical fashion, and the more cooperation, the better the network will perform. So basically, you have these points, which are sometimes referred to as supernodes, where all this connectivity happens, and it kind of creates, for lack of a better term, a web. A web, that's where we get that in the first place, a web of connectivity. So these people have a connectivity point, 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 and together you have a network, and there's no hierarchy, and it's peer-to-peer. Leveraging the Althea network can earn money by collecting payments for expanding the network. Althea users can accept 2 cryptocurrencies at the moment, which includes DAI and ETH. The creators of the Althea network say in the future they will be adding support for other digital assets as well. In fact, digital currencies play an important role. So Placone, Oregon residents are not the only one using the system. Citizens from Tacoma, Washington also use the Althea network. It's important to note that Tacoma, Washington was one of the first places in the country to really look into municipal broadband and to start a movement around municipal broadband. They were looking into municipal broadband as far back as 1996. That was back when they were just, I was very young back then, so I certainly didn't, I remember, but they were just mom and pop ISPs back then. You guys remember that? Like, they were just random. I remember the first, my family, we had a thing called Mindspring, where it was just some random dude who decided he was able to wire internet connections, basically, and he started a company. This was during the dot-com boom, or when the dot-com boom was really taking shape. And even back then, people in Tacoma were like, it would be best if our city managed our connection to the internet. So they've had this movement for a long time. And it's called the Tacoma Cooperative Network. It's shown a resident named David how to set up Althea, as he was only getting 8 Mbps internet connection with high speed 600 gigahertz antennas. Althea users can get up to 200 to 400 Mbps. So now there is a way that a network run by cryptocurrency can provide a faster internet at a cheaper price, paid for in crypto. And there you see a guy with a tractor laying down the cable to do it. It can be done. And people are doing it in rural areas because otherwise they can't get access to the internet. This needs to happen all across the country. We need to have city-owned municipal broadband internet all across the country. And it's not an unattainable feat. People in rural areas are doing it via mesh networks. And it's being paid for by crypto and other people joining the network. And there's no hierarchy. This is what we need because the internet needs to be a utility in our life. And in the future, I will use the internet better by taking better screenshots of the people who send me the articles so I can credit the person who sent me this one. Apologies again for that. But I hope you see this and you email me.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your